This is the Microtech MSI, also known as the Microtech Standard Issue, and it's hands down the best pocket knife that I tried this year. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you all the great things about it, and on top of that, I'll also talk about its proprietary blade steel, the M390MK, plus its brand new locking mechanism, the Microtech RAM-LOK. Hey everyone, welcome to Salvo EDC. 2024 is soon coming to an end, which means it's time for us to call the Knife of the Year. And for me the clear winner is the FRN version of the Microtech MSI. I'm super excited about this review, not only because this is an outstanding piece of gear, but also because it feels like holding a true piece of innovation in my hand. So let's discuss why that is. First of all, the MSI is a revolutionary design that was the first platform to introduce not only the blade steel and the locking mechanism, but it was also used to debut Microtech's lightweight FRN scales alongside their two stage deep carry clips. Not to mention that the MSI is a US-made knife that sells only for about $170. With this combination, Microtech beats everyone in its category, since they directly compete against much more expensive Benchmade folders, or even things like the Spyderco Manix or the Hogue Deca. But the MSI has much better build quality, sturdier construction, and with the new steel, it also brings in a lot more value for the money. And Microtech genuinely did not half-ass this design. It comes with attractive looks, robust T8 body screws, and even more robust T15 pivot screws. So they finally made the leap and started moving away from their triangle-shaped hardware, and this knife does not require unique tools to disassemble, which is very good news for us knife users, as we can now finally put our hands on a Microtech that comes with both easy maintenance and high performance. On top of these hardware changes, my biggest surprise was the oversized backspacer that is made of titanium. This solution allows the MSI to stay very light and super sturdy at the same time. Plus it allowed Microtech to cut back on the steel liners for some further weight reduction. So this knife measures only about 4.5 ounces, which is pretty good compared to its 9-inch overall size and 3.9-inch blade length. However, all this would be meaningless without fantastic ergonomics and weight distribution. But the Microtech MSI excels at both. The RAM-LOK paired up with a reversible pocket clip makes this knife fully ambidextrous, which is not only great for left-handed people, but also for those folks who must switch grips while using their knives. The injection molded handle also does a good job at helping me to align the blade perfectly no matter how I grab it. And the MSI has a very comfortable full grip without any noticeable hotspots. At this point, I'd also like to explain why I love this Microtech 2-stage deep carry clip so much. The curvature it comes with allows this clip to hook into my pocket on two separate locations, which not only makes the clip safer, but it also prevents the knife from dancing around inside my pocket, which in my experience is the #1 reason why folders potentially open on an accident. And this is a much underrated feature that nobody talks about, but I genuinely appreciate the thoughtfulness of this clip. And now, let's talk about probably the most important feature of the MSI, which is Microtech's brand new RAM-LOK mechanism, which had kind of a shaky launch, not gonna lie, since these crossbar folders were infamous for failing whenever something hit them from above, but thanks to some very loud people within the community, this issue got fixed very quickly, and RAM-LOK folders do not have this problem anymore. And if you ask me, I would say to pay close attention if your knife was manufactured before 2024, but everything I've seen this year works just fine. My knife was made in April, for example, and it comes with perfect action, super safe lockup, and completely zero blade play, which is a really big deal, since my #1 issue with crossbar folders from other brands was that they always came with a hint of blade play. But the MSI is just rock solid. Another huge pro going for this RAM-LOK mechanism is the coil spring that actuates it, since other brands usually feature a so-called Omega spring, which is famous for snapping at the worst time possible, rendering your knife completely useless. My only criticism toward Microtech would be the tension on this coil spring, because in my opinion, it is a little too soft and the knife could have a lot better opening action if the spring was stronger. However, one big advantage of this softer spring is that I can easily actuate it with only one finger, so closing the MSI requires less dexterity compared to a Spyderco Manix, for example. But all in all, the RAM-LOK is very impressive, and in my experience, it is by far the best crossbar style lock available on the entire knife market. And it is true that now you can see new versions of the Stitch or the Amphibian having the same feature, but the MSI was the platform that originally introduced it. And the Standard Issue was also the first in line to receive Microtech's proprietary blade steel, the M390MK, which is an upgraded version of Bohler's M390 with even higher edge retention. And if you watch my channel a lot, you probably know that I was already a big fan of this blade material, not only for its great abrasion resistance, but also because of its superior stainlessness. The only thing M390 lacks is toughness, but that weakness was pretty well counterbalanced with this robust blade grind. During the past 6 months of having my MSI, I made it cut through an incredible number of dumb things, but I never had a single issue with chipping, and this is also true for sharpening. And I really enjoy the geometry Microtech chose for this knife, and it makes a great example how you turn a sheepsfoot blade sexy, as this thing just has a spicy look. The closest design I've ever seen to it would be probably the Warncliffe Whippersnapper from Olami Cutlery, and I just love this blade shape. It reminds me of an angry eagle for some reason, so it's perfect to destabilize small countries or just simply invade someone who just found oil, if you know what I mean. But all jokes aside, before having this Microtech, I had such a dislike for sheepsfoot blades because they were just too boring for me. But when I first saw the MSI, I just knew it was time to get one. I also really enjoy the shape of this opening hole because it's very easy to access with any of my fingers, and it also works well if I have my gloves on. Plus the robust jim pin also helps handling this knife with protective gear, and for someone who goes to the range often, this feature is absolutely gold. The Dark Earth FRN Scales and the dark grey stonewashed blade also fit the colors of my tactical gear perfectly. As a result, I find myself picking the MSI increasingly more often whenever I must jump into some cargo pants. So my bottom line is that with the MSI, Microtech gave us a good-looking, innovative, very well-made American knife that is also super affordable. And due to its materials, it also combines low maintenance and high performance, which for me personally makes it the best knife to have in 2024. However, if you'd like to see some other amazing blades, you should check my previous videos, as I just reviewed my Giant Mouse Sonoma that comes with a very similar M390 blade steel, and I also invite you to learn more about this other very cool Microtech, the Exo Set, which is not only a badass cutting tool, but it can also be used as a money clip or a card holder. Thank you for sticking around all the way, and I'll see you in the next one.